Do you remember Bane? You know, the guy with all the tubes in him and the welcome to the game, Batman. You know, the guy with the fucked up accent from the movie and all that that sort of sounded like Sean Connery, but not quite. Do you know he was created by comics book Gator, Graham Nolan, one of the members of the comic book Gate Kings. And he didn't like the fact that Bane had a tiny, puny little head, maybe like he does. Didn't like that. Maybe it came too close to home, right? So Bane co-creator Graham Nolan has a challenge for DC comic fans after his criticism of Absolute Bane's design went viral earlier this week. Nolan asked fans to, quote, prove him wrong with their wallets. Now, without even reading this article, what made you think he would advise such a challenge, right? Issue such a challenge? Well, it's because if he is the co-creator, chances are there are royalties involved here somewhere, right? But we'll find out. After being asked countlessly for my opinion on this version of Bane, I gave an honest answer and broke X. You didn't break shit. You might have broken your leg getting out of bed. Nolan wrote in a lengthy post on X, formerly known as Twitter, relax, he says. It is just my opinion. Well, opinions are like assholes, right? We all have one. It shouldn't affect how you feel about it. Nolan went on to talk about how over 1.6 million people viewed his original post. Well, it kind of does, right? Like, let's say down the road, Nyobi becomes something bigger and I don't have full control of it, right? Maybe I sign off some rights or we're doing a movie or whatever the case may be. And they do something with the character that I don't like, being the creator. And I go on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I speak my mind, and 1.6 million people look at it and read it, and it goes viral. Yeah, as the creator, my voice does matter because no one knows Nyobi like me, right? And so I'm sure Graham Nolan feels the same way about Bane, but he is a co-creator, not the creator. If every one of you were buying comics instead of reacting to the opinion of one guy, this business would be in better shape. Well, you wouldn't know, Graham Nolan, because you're not part of the business anymore. You were exiled, and you have been drummed down into the mud, rolling with the pigs of Comicsgate. So you wouldn't know about the business anymore. He had an Absolute Batman #9, the issue featuring Bane that Nolan called a terrible abomination. Goes on sale June 11th. You know what'd be really funny is if like you buy this issue and you get Graham Nolan's signature on it. Like I wonder if he'll even sign them, right? That's the question that needs to be asked. Nolan then went on to challenge ex-readers to prove him wrong and make the issue of Absolute Batman with Bane's appearance a financial success. Quote, I'm now issuing you a challenge. Why get mad at me when you can get even with me? Sounds like a reverse psychology here. Buy this book. Buy my book. Tell your friends and get multiple copies. Prove me wrong with your wallets instead of your keyboards, and that will give this artist a huge royalty payday. Let's get this book to 1.6 million in sales. That'll show me you don't give a shit at all, dude. You really don't, right? And I've said this before, and I've said this again about these guys. They don't care about the comics. They care about how comics can line their pockets only. Let that sink in. I actually care about the medium. I know I'm never going to get rich doing this. But, we care about producing comics. We care about producing good comics and not trying to stir up a bunch of controversy just so we can line our pockets. After being asked, blah, 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 here it is. By the way, I'm not a big fan of this design either, right? Let's just be frank, and please stop calling me Frank, and surely you don't mean it, and yes, I do, and surely don't call me Shirley anymore. But he does have a pea-size head for such a massive body. It just looks weird. It looks awkward. I mean, hell, his neck muscles are bigger than his entire head, right? So I get it. It sucks. But that's not why Graham Nolan is doing all this, right? He's just doing this so, you'll go buy the book. That you will buy the book and make him a rich man. One user replied attempting to call Nolan out, saying he was trying to bolster sales of the issue because it would be paid regardless of one of Bane's co-creators. Nolan responded saying that this was not true. He says, I don't get paid at all. DC can use Bane as a guest in comics and doesn't have to pay royalties. If the title of the comic is Bane ... whatever, then they would have to pay. Well, it's Absolute Batman 9, and you're still saying up here, give this artist a huge royalty payday. So it kind of contradicts what you're saying. Either you're getting paid royalties or you're not. And I believe that you are. Nolan also encouraged readers to support fun, independent comics. Let me change that. He has asked readers to support his Comicsgate crowdfunding endeavors, which, by the way, in Comicsgate are full of late books that take years for you to get, if you get them at all. It is one of the biggest scams in all of comics. With his post on X earlier this week bashing Absolute Bane's design, Nolan also took aim at other versions of the character, like Tom Hardy's portrayal in The Dark Knight Rises, which he labeled, quote-unquote, a fail. Nolan also posted a message encouraging the people viewing the page, encouraging them to support independent comics. He's not part of independent comics. He's part of Comicsgate. And Comicsgate is not part of the indie scene. They are the black sheep that everyone ignores, okay? Let's get behind fun, he says. Passionate independent comics, he wrote, linking to his own Indiegogo project from Escape from Monster Island. Is that like Boy Island from Lean Gray? Look, nothing on Indiegogo is worth a pinch of salt. It really isn't. That's where comic skaters go to die. You know what I mean? They won't go to Kickstarter. You know why? Because they know Kickstarter won't have them. That's why. Nolan also directed fans to his own indie comic book company, Compass Comics, where he is the writer, artist, and publisher. So it's not a company. You're a guy in your office doing a comic book. That's not a company. Companies like where you have a building, a sign, employees, a payroll, you know. On its official website, Nolan says that he started the company because of his own dissatisfaction with major comic book publishers. I wanted, ... no, needed a platform to tell all kinds of stories I wanted to draw and read, Nolan wrote. Tales of adventure, heroism, horror, and romance, without the moralizing and political messages so prevalent in the modern big two publishers, Marvel and DC. Quote unquote, I want to be able to spread my bullshit hate messages without Marvel and DC putting the hammer down on me. Absolute Batman number 9 goes on sale June 11th from DC Comics as part of a new Absolute universe. So this is either going to work out in your favor, against your favor, but probably in your favor, and I'll tell you why. Because Absolute Batman is a hit. No matter how you slice it, dice it, and shake it, whether I like the art in it or not, and I haven't read it, but I can tell you I know many people that have. I know many people that love it. So my initial suggestion was, don't buy number 9. Make this fucker poor, you know? But people are going to buy it regardless, right? Because it is Bane, because of the controversy. I mean, hell, even I might have to pick up a copy. And by doing so, though, I just put 50 cents into Nolan's pocket, right? But maybe I can flip the book and make some money off of Graham Nolan, you know? But the thing is I've had my own run-ins with Graham Nolan on the twatter. He is a I was going to say self-righteous. Not so much self-righteous. He's got such a big head that he thinks he's the bee's knees of comics, right? You know, and I said, you were lucky that Marvel, DC, whoever even gave you a job to begin with. And he's like, I'm the one that they're lucky to have me. No. When you first get hired by someone, they're opening the doors for you. Okay, it's like getting hired with the WWE. Vince McMahon, he doesn't give guarantees, right? He gives opportunities. You're given an opportunity, and you were lucky to have been given it at all. And now you squander it away by rolling in the mud with the pigs. Oink! That is the future of professional comics, right there, guys. These old timers, you know, that wait for the nurses to come deliver them their medicine at night. You know, bark at the clouds, man. But the truth is, though, is he's probably right. He probably does stand to make a good payday from this. And as much as DC would hate to pay him, as much as they hate to pay Van Sciver for things like Jessica Cruz and Atrocitus, They go ahead and do it because it is legally binding that they do, which kind of sucks because there should be like a clause, in these contracts, like if you start making the company look bad, blah, 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 that we have a right to terminate these royalty agreements because you're no longer working within our favor but against us. I think those clauses need to be start being done in contracts, especially of this nature, because it is a bad look for DC to constantly have Graham Nolan or Shane Davis or Ethan Van Sciver tout their successes on characters that they made for them, thus making DC look kind of shitty and bad, right? But that's just one man's opinion. I'm just a kid from South Park. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for a word from my sponsor. And just who is today's sponsor? Well, it's me, Austin. It's been me all along. And I'm just here to let you know that Nyobi Outbreak number 4 is on its last week on Kickstarter here. We've been running this in late pledges, aka in demand now for the last couple of weeks, and we're glad that we've had 8 new backers come in and join us on the fun. And it's not too late. You can come in and back this for another week or so, and then it is going to get shut down because we just can't leave it open forever, right? We need to get the ball rolling. We need to get the ball moving. So come on in and help us out. There are 10 great covers to choose from, including Juan Antonio Altaveras right here. How about LC Fritas featuring Adana? What about this great cover from Lock Win right here? How about the cover from the Sensei, Ben Dunn, founder of Antarctic Press and the creator of Warrior Nun and Ninja High School, with our X-Men homage? Bucket list artist Ali Garza right here. How about the master, Keith Garvey? How about Narcilio Souza with the Dance Till You Drop set right here? Great triple set cover that you can pick up for another week or so, only right here on Kickstarter. And to top it all off, this epic cover by Image alumni, known for his work on Evangeline and Lady Pendragon, Scarlet Crush, and so much more, Mr. John Stinsman. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go here. We got the pages done. We're working on the coloring of the last few. We're going to be 2 months early, not 4 years late. So why don't you jump in now, catch up on all things Nyobi. We have everything you need. If you missed out on the past, if you're missing a variant cover, that sort of stuff, come in, take a look. Things are starting to sell out, including some of the signature series, including some of the original sketch cards that we have on the go. You do want these. They're gorgeous. They're awesome. And again, only available for another week or so. So pull the trigger, pull it now, and we'll see you soon.